Today we're here to honor the latest issuing of the Purple Heart recipients. But please remember all those that passed wars and conflicts that are still unaccounted for.
I would like to thank each and every one of you for welcoming us today to this ceremony and to be a part of it. I'd like to give you a real brief history on the medal itself. The Purple Heart started back with George Washington during the when he was with the Continental Army during the Revolution. He went to Continental Congress, and not unlike today when you go to Congress and ask for more money, he went to ask for more money for his troops. Congress said, no, we don't have the money. So he thought of some other way to honor those individuals. What he did is he made up a badge called the Military Badge of Merit, which was cut out of purple material with lace around it. Unfortunately, that was in 1782. The war ended in 1783, and there were only 3 of those distributed at that time to 3 sergeants. Sergeant Major Jesse Acosta, Sergeant Felipe Adams, Corporal Rudy Saavedra, Specialist Alroy Gilman, and Sergeant Anthony Bentley. On behalf of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, I salute you.
The Veterans Administration would like to present flowers to the spouses and the families of the 4 soldiers. Brigadier General Jim Combs.
You know, I've been in the military about 40 years, and obviously in that amount of time you've seen a few battlefields, and you've clearly understood the great burden that is carried by warriors in supporting and defending our Constitution and the liberties that we hold so dear, each one of us. And it's not lost on me either that when a warrior goes to war, they often suffer. And it was recognized early by the founding father of our democracy that that suffering needs to be acknowledged and recognized. It takes a community. Indeed, it takes a close, supportive family to cause recovery to occur in a manner that we'd all hope that it would. And there's no doubt a little of us lose a little something each time a warrior is wounded in action. And particularly because we know the recovery is long and difficult and requires great personal and spiritual strength to overcome it. I want to extend my personal sympathy, concern, and prayer to each family member that is here with us and those that could not be in attendance. I want to extend personal thanks to the community that's gathered here to recognize them. This has not always been the case, and often we fail to create the conditions where we can truly salute and support those that have been injured in combat. Today I'm privileged, along with Major General Mock, to recognize these warriors. It is with a humble heart today that I get to recognize 2 great warriors. And I'd like to start off first by recognizing Felipe Adams. Felipe was injured in a vehicle sniper attack. He performed his mission admirably. Through his great skill, we're sure that others were able to survive the attack. And the reality is he was distinguished among his squad and his team and his entire chain of command. From Alaska contacted me to advise me how proud they were of him.
Attention to orders. United States of America, to all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America has awarded the Purple Heart, established by General George Washington at Newburgh, New York, August 7, 1782, to Specialist Felipe F. Adams for wounds received in action, to Corporal Rudy T. Saavedra for wounds received in action, given under my hand in the city of Washington this 28th day of August 2006. Signed, Francis J. Harvey, Secretary of the Army.
Let's give them both a big hand, please. Man, General Mock.
Thanks, Jim.
These types of ceremonies are truly a great honor for General Combs and I to participate in. And coming up with the right words is always tough. If you look at these soldiers here, and I'll talk very briefly about them, they're just inspiring. And you look at human sacrifice and what it takes to support this great nation of ours, and the sacrifices that these two individuals, actually 4 of them, have made, and it's truly awe-inspiring. And you look behind the individual soldiers, and what do you see? You see more soldiers assigned to units, comrades in arms, and behind that you also see families at home. I first met First Sergeant Acosta in the Fisher House back at Walter Reed. The news first came out of his injury. He received injuries while leading his soldiers in the physical fitness training. Indirect fire, lost vision, both eyes. A tremendously impacting type of injury, life-changing. And both of these soldiers, I'll tell you, the first comment they make is there's not a bit of complaining, whining. It's, I wish I could be back with my comrades, my other soldiers back in Iraq. And that is the spirit of the American warrior. My thanks to both of you for your service. You guys are the best that this country has to offer, and we could never, never thank you enough for the service that you provided.
Attention to orders. The United States of America, to all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America has awarded the Purple Heart, established by General George Washington at Newburgh, New York, August 7, 1782, to Specialist Elroy Gilliman, United States Army, for wounds received in action on 9 November 2006. Given under my hand in the city of Washington this 21st day of November, signed, Francis J. Harvey, Secretary of the Army. 2. Sergeant Major Jesse Acosta, United States Army, for wounds received in action. Given under my hand in the city of Washington, D.C., signed, Francis J. Harvey, Secretary of the Army.
We have a special presentation. These jackets are military jackets with military Order of the Purple Heart emblem sewn over the left breast pocket. Again, I would like to remove for Anthony Beckman. This young man was never supposed to be able to get out of a wheelchair. Look at him today.
A few months ago, I was actually the first Purple Heart vet here, and to me it's just one of the greatest honors to be here to watch my fellow comrades also receive this medal. When I first came in here, I was paralyzed from the neck down. They told me I would never walk again, but the Lord told me a different story. Amen.
Talk about the progress you made since the injury, like how far you've come and how far you've got to go for your own goal back in the day.
Just became. It was 3.5 months ago. I was barely able to speak. I had tubes in my mouth, tubes down my throat. But now I'm up and going. I can maneuver myself, jumping in other cars. And focus on a lot of day-by-day progress. And hopefully, by the grace of God, I will be walking. But if not, life goes on.
And what do you have to say to people who, see you and then find out that you are a combat veteran and you're wounded in Iraq? Like, what do you want them to know about, like, what you want?
That soldiers over there doing their duty for, protecting the freedoms and liberties over here. And every day we go up the wire, we know the consequences, but we do it anyway because we love of the country. The freedoms I wouldn't say people take for granted, is they appreciate it so much. And the soldiers fight for those. They don't know what can happen, but they do it anyway.